Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to this wonderful interview I'm having here about the new coming film, Alien Abductions Answers. First, I'd like to introduce myself. Maybe many of you might know me as Linda A-Roraha, even have seen some of my clips about making contact with our star friends on YouTube or somewhere else, or maybe heard me speak during Zoom meetings or interviews. I circle more like a name in many ET contact groups around the world where we share many stories, even our own personal experiences. We have meetings around the world and work together in small groups or solo making contact. It's a whole different world, I might say, but it's a very interesting one. My experience on that feeling is never to go back to my old life. And maybe many will agree with me. The contact groups are growing around the world, not just for no reason. There is much doubt and ignorance about our distant neighbors outside our Earth, more or less a denial, to put it that way. After so many years, I find that people sometimes live with the most personal and impressive events and find no hearing or just don't dare to talk about what they have experienced with extraterrestrials or other phenomena. They don't dare to talk because otherwise they will be seen as crazy. But what is crazy? Because it's not within the mind paths or simply it does not exist. If it does not exist, is my conclusion, then we really don't exist either. Maybe some thoughts to think about, don't you think? We also see on the news, we start seeing footage of UFOs by pilots or military. And when it hit the news, it might exist and it shows signs that it's not from this earth. So my conclusion, everyone can experience something in their life or even see what is unknown. That does not alter the fact that every person is a part of this earth, and the greater part are what we see at night. There's huge starry sky outside our earth, the universe. And I feel it's simply our mirror of what we are. We often think we are just floating around this beautiful luminous blue sphere, but nothing could be further more from the truth. But first, I want to thank you all for watching this important video. But why this video? A few years ago, I met a man from the US who had an incredible experience with ET when he was just a little boy, and he was determined to explore that experience and overcome his initial fear. And that man is John Yost. And what he did and how he did it in this new documentary, which is called Alien Abductions Answers. In this documentary is also featuring Whitley Strieber. And many know Whitley is a known American writer, known for his horror novels, The Wolfen and the Hunger, and also for Communion, which is a non-fiction account of his alleged experiences with non-human entities. And also many others participated in this film, like Debs Shakti. She's a quantum hypnotherapist and channeler, a human partner of the Star Teachers. Personally, I know this beautiful, warm-hearted woman very well. But to come back about this documentary, I want you all to know that I watched this film twice. And I believe it is one of the most important films about ET interactions that I have seen. So first, I want to welcome our guest, John Yost. John, I'm so glad to talk to you today. Welcome, and thank you so much for finding the time to have this conversation with me. But first, can you introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, well, thank you very much, Linda, for sharing this time with me. I really appreciate it. I know you're very busy. As you said, my name is John Yost, and I am a the writer and director of this film, Alien Abduction, answers. I have been in the show business, if you want to say it that way, for over 20 years. And I have done many projects on all kinds of subjects: sports, science, true crime. And I never gave a thought to talking about my own experiences until something happened in my professional life that triggered um, me and made me come forward with the documentary now.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
I have some questions for you I'd
Mhm.
like to ask you and about this documentary. Can you tell everyone what happened to you as a boy?
Mm, yes. Um, when I was 7 years old, I was awakened by a hum, a undulating, droning hum. And I sat on the side of my bed and I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I went to the water closet, the bathroom, and I was washing my hands, and the water ran for a long, long time. And finally, I opened the door of the bathroom, and to my eyes, I saw a little being, my height. He looked like a Japanese television character called Ultraman. He was silver in color and had very, very large eyes. And I was not afraid. We got very, very close, almost nose to nose. And I started to feel myself slip, like I had stepped into very deep water. And I became afraid. At that point, I struggled with this entity. And there was a tremendous flash of light. And then there was this kaleidoscope of colors. I felt like I was moving, but I couldn't tell. And I was terrified. When I finally came back to my wits, I had switched places with this entity. The entity's back was in the bathroom, and my back was to the stairwell.
Hmm.
And we were continuing to struggle. He reached out with his right hand toward my left shoulder. And when he did, I felt this tremendous energy, um, a shock, some sort of electricity, I do not know. And I fell backwards. I fell down the stairs and I was wailing. I was screaming. I was afraid. I was hurt. I was shocked. My shoulder was shocked. And my parents had a bedroom on the first floor. They came running out and to see their son on the floor, and I'm screaming that someone is upstairs. My father was a big man, and he ran up the stairs to find out if there was an intruder, and there was no one there. He came to the top of the stairs and he looked disappointed at me, and so my parents put me back in the room and they looked under the closets and they looked under the bed and there was nothing there, and they said good night. The next day, I it was summer break from school, and so I was playing with my friends all day. I came in for dinner, and my mother insisted on me taking a bath. And I was a little boy and I didn't want to. And so she takes my shirt off, my t-shirt off, and she sees my left shoulder.
Mm.
And she was very concerned as a mother. And she said, honey, what is this? And I said, I told you, Mom, the Ultraman was upstairs. And she looked sad. And then she said, it would be okay. It would be okay. A couple of days later, my father took me to the doctors. And as we pulled into the uh, the car park, he said, now listen, I don't want to hear any of this Ultraman stuff. You keep that to yourself. You, I don't want to hear it. And I loved my father, and so I obeyed. And the doctor examined me. I had bruises from the fall, but then he got to my shoulder and he said, what's this, sport? And I said to him, well, and I could see my father,
Mm.
and he, you know,
Yeah.
and so I said, nothing.
Mm.
I was just playing. So the doctor looked and he said, okay. And then he let me go on my way and he talked to my father in the other room. When we were coming home from the doctor, my father said to me, now listen, I don't want you to scare your mother and I don't want you to scare your sisters. You keep that Ultraman stuff to yourself. I never want to hear about it again. And so I lied about it my whole life.
That's quite a story,
Mm.
I can imagine. So what rises the question for me is, hearing your story, we all know that unknown experiences can trigger also a lot of fear, especially when you're so young. And can you tell us, how did you overcome the fear
Mm.
when experiencing that on that age?
It This is a two-part answer.
Mhm.
The first part is that I lied so much about it that it was in the back of my mind.
Mm.
So, as I said, it was on my shoulder, and I was in sports. And so you would shower and someone would say, hey, what's that? You'd have to lie about it.
Mhm.
I had to lie to my friends and girlfriends, etc. And so it became so natural to lie about it. It was like putting on a wristwatch. You
Yeah.
never think, I am going to put on a wristwatch. You just put it on.
Mm.
And so I dealt with it that way. But
Mhm.
what I noticed was that I was petrified of big open skies
Yeah.
and big open water. Ocean
Mm.
terrified me. The big sky terrified me. And I would always just keep that to myself.
Mm.
Um, I even now, as I tell the story, I am controlling that fear. Um, you will notice that I speak in short sentences,
Mm.
and the reason is this. There are two reasons that I have such a hard time with this. Number one, every time I think about it, I go back in time. I am 7 years old again. So I am not seeing it as a man. I'm seeing it as a boy.
Yeah.
So this is very hard for me to overcome.
Mm.
The second part that is so hard is when you lie that long for so many years, it poisons your life. It poisons your relationships. It poisons all your friendships. It poisons you. And so that is what has made it so ingrained. If I had not lied about it, if maybe I just kept it to myself, maybe I could overcome it easier. I've had to, when I promote this movie, talk about this many times. And sometimes my emotions get away from me. I'm holding them tight now for this interview, but I still deal with it today.
I really, really can feel you, what you're saying. And I think during this interview, we come probably more into the questions. And maybe it all comes in the end just perfect, I think. So maybe we get to know you better through this, and also about this film. Can you tell us a bit about what this film is about?
Mm. As I mentioned before, um, I have been in show business for a long time and done many projects. I work for a company called Rhino Pictures,
Mhm.
and they have been in business for 38 years. And they do all kinds of projects around the country and internationally. And we were on a project about um, phenomena. And I had never told anyone anything. I was lying even then. This is a few years ago.
Yeah.
And so it was at the end of the evening, and we were downloading all of the information to hard drives. And I went outside to have a nightcap with my crew and with some of the people that were with us. There was about 12 or 15 people with us. And so they poured the wine, and I raised my glass to give a toast, and I could see a glint in the glass. And I thought to myself, what is that? That must be the moon.
Mm.
But then I realized it was completely black. There was no moon. And so I didn't understand this. My mind is trying to come up with answers. And as I pull down my glass, I see to like 45 degrees from me, about 30 feet in the air, a blue green thing.
Wow.
And it has its own color uh, and its own luminosity. It gives off its own light. So it's not reflecting anything. And my mind is saying, this is a mylar balloon, a shiny balloon.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this to myself, and I grab my cameraman who's beside me to show him, and he says, "What?" And all of the people that were with us turned and looked and said, "Oh, hello, welcome." I said, "Are you out of your minds? What are you talking about?" And this thing, it was about as, I tell you, Linda, it was about as big as a Volkswagen.
Wow.
And it flew very fast in a zigzag formation like this, right above my head, and froze. And I froze. And then it zigzagged away a little bit here, froze, and then it drifted off into the desert. We were in a place called Borrego Springs, California, very flat, very arid desert area.
Yeah.
And I was just, oh my God.
What was that?
Everybody else is talking. They're very happy. But what happened to me was, at that moment, I felt the earth slip out from underneath my feet again. I
Oh,
was transported back to being a 7-year-old boy,
yeah.
struggling against something I did not understand, and I was terrified. So I said very politely to everyone, good night, and I went back to my room
Mm.
and I barricaded the door. I had a very, very, very bad night. Um, After that, my friends and my crew, they noticed something was a little different about me.
Mm.
I was having problems, and I was in charge of the team. So this is difficult, to
That is.
manage this many people and be so distracted. And I became very angry at
Mm.
myself. I'm a grown man. Why can't I
Oh,
control myself?
you're a little boy.
Eh, yeah, I'm not a little boy anymore, but I felt like I was a little boy.
Mm.
And so that is where the real start of this movie began.
Mm.
I wanted to find out how to deal with this fear.
Mm.
How did, and I started to do research. And Linda, I was amazed at
Yeah.
how many people,
Mm.
thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people on this planet have had this type of or something different experience with this other,
Yeah.
this alien, this ET, that whatever. And I was amazed by it. So I wanted to talk to these people to
Yeah.
find out how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
And so this is how the movie begins,
Mm.
with this man who is struggling with this thing that he has lied about all his life. And now he must find these answers. How does he live with this information
Mm.
without the lies?
Yeah. It's very important.
Yes.
Very important. But it's, yeah, I just, by seeing the film and you explaining now, yeah, it really, I know, I understand the loneliness. I understand. Um, you cannot speak about it. That's what I said in the intro, that people can call you crazy or whatever, because everything comes to you, especially when you're grown up, and then something can pull you back like that. So, and I feel really that that's a very, yeah, it's very good to talk about that, especially what you're doing with this movie. And what I saw is there are a lot of people in the movie. I saw Debs Shakti, Mark Whitley, and all the others. How was that for you to work with these people for
Uh,
you?
well, let me just say that first, to work with Deb Shakti is to work with a dream. She
Mm.
is a beautiful soul.
Mm.
And I refer to her as my guardian angel. She
Mm.
has helped me so much with understanding the phenomena and understanding my part, and also allowing me to, through her therapy, to relax enough to understand the pieces of it that I missed
Yeah.
originally. Because I, it's not one of these situations where I never knew it happened. No, I knew it happened the moment it happened as a 7-year-old boy, and I carried it with me my whole life. I didn't have to recall it or regress. I had it, but there were pieces of it missing, and she helped me find that. So I love her dearly. She is a wonderful woman. Mark Sims, what a gracious man, and allowed us full carte blanche of his home to do interviews and everything. He was a
Mm.
fantastic associate producer, and I really owe a huge debt to him. But I would be remiss if I did not mention Mr. Whitley Strieber.
Yeah.
Um, a, a he is more than an author. He is more than a speaker. He is really a philosopher.
Mm.
He has taken this visitor experience and contrasted it and compared it to the human experience, and has really allowed me to get my arms around this a little better
Mhm.
so I can understand it. And also he has a way of encapsulating ideas so that the general populace will understand.
Mm.
In the film, there are many emotional times, as you know,
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Whitley Strieber, who has had many of these experiences as well. And he can put it into words that allow us to see it from a different perspective,
Mhm.
to help us digest it and make it reasonable to us to think through without all of the fear. The important thing about Whitley is that he does not ignore the fear.
Mm.
He recognizes it, because if we don't recognize it, then we lie again.
Again.
We have to say, look, this is something bigger than us.
Mm.
So it is natural to be cautious. It is natural to be fearful. But we must come to an understanding. And this is really the genius of
Mm.
Whitley Strieber.
Yeah. How did you get a hold of Whitley? Because he's a very wonderful man, and what he is, like his writings, but everything. It's how did you come to this contact with him, and
Well,
how did he come into this movie?
mm, well, I begged.
Mm. Well, that's always a good thing.
I begged.
Yeah.
Um, I did not know Mr. Strieber,
Mm.
but I did meet and work with Debs Shakti.
Mm.
Debs introduced me to Mark Sims, our other associate producer, and
Yeah.
Mark was a very good friend, or is a very good friend, of Whitley Strieber's.
Ah.
And so Mr. Strieber and he spoke about it,
Mm.
and then they interviewed me on the phone and via Zoom, and
Mm.
we had several conversations. Mr. Strieber must be very careful because, as you know, Linda,
Yeah,
this world is filled with good people
I know.
and crazy people.
I
And
know.
so he wanted to make sure that I was not too crazy.
Oh,
And so, but then after that, then I was able to fly, and I spent a lot of time with him and the questions.
yeah.
And then we had a wonderful time. He is a very giving man, a very loving man, and
Mm.
is concerned with what is happening to us as a species.
Mm.
You know, it's so interesting to me that the more that I understand about ET and consciousness,
Mm.
the more my thoughts return back to us and where we fit in all of this and how we are participating in it, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
And this, once again, was due to the insights of Mr. Whitley Strieber.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I know you as a very pure person, so Whitley wouldn't have to reject you for sure. I know.
Thank
Because I love to talk to you too, and we go way back. And, but a lot of people will probably say, well, another documentary, another movie, another story. There are so many stories. But um, what makes this film different than any other ET documentaries for you? And to show the viewers or tell the viewers um, what you think about this.
that is a really great question, because I agree. Many people will think it is just another documentary, and since I have started to do the research and do the film, I've watched many of them, and there are three main differences.
Mhm.
Number one, most documentaries are third person analytical. Oh, in 1947, this and this happened, and this happened, and this man who we have some black and white footage of. Okay. In our film, it is immersive, meaning that the viewer follows me, sees the experiences through my eyes. It is happening real time. They will feel the terror. They
Yeah.
will feel the relief. They will feel the love, but they are inside the movie. So that is the first number one. And so that is a very important feature, I think.
Mm,
The second thing is that other films come at this phenomena with a determined answer. They are going to prove their point. And that's not the way it is with this film.
mm,
If you notice, it is alien abduction answers. It is not alien abduction, the answer,
mhm.
because this is too big.
Yeah.
These are guideposts. These are things that people can lock onto and help them. Because as I said, there are so many people with
Mhm.
experiences like this or a little different, but all in this phenomena, and they might not have anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
Through this film, they can be with me, and I can endure I can endure the fear, I can endure the questions, I can endure the ridicule, and they don't have to, but they can get to the other side with me. The third thing is that it gives us an opportunity at the end of the film to go the next step. This is not a dead end. This truly is a beginning. This movie, in my mind, is a piece of a three-part trilogy. This movie will take people who have had experiences or people who are just interested from ignorance and fear, which is where I was,
Yeah.
to some understanding. The second film I hope to make is from understanding to integration. If these things are so, and this is how it is, how do I fit into this phenomena? How am I part of it? How am I not part of it? How do I participate in it?
Mm,
And then third film would be about integration into the world. There are people who live with this truth. Yours, I don't want to speak for you, but I would say you would be a great example of this, that understand this truth, have had these experiences, have gone through that discomfort or fear or questioning, that scorn, and then have come on the other side, have some answers, and then say, look, this is my life now, and I can participate and I can act in and out of this phenomena in my daily life. Not one of those woo woo things,
no,
but right here on this plane, how does it affect us?
mm,
And so these are the differences
yeah.
that I find so remarkable.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering this. It makes a lot of things clear. Um, I think for sure that this documentary is going to find, so the things you were saying and telling us, find its way into the world where even maybe many people can find their answers when watching. Um, how do you feel about that, if you think about that?
I Someone asked me the other day if
Mm,
I was excited
mm,
about the release of the film, which comes out on May 3rd.
yeah.
And I have to say, um, I have a complicated feeling about it.
Mm,
Part of me is so happy that this message will get out because I truly want everybody to see it. However it happens, I would like everybody to see it because I think that it will touch everybody a different way. When they
mm,
see these people on screen, they'll see themselves. They won't see crazy people. They'll see professionals and college educated individuals and mothers and fathers and hardworking people. They will see themselves and it will say to them, look,
mm,
this in all of this news from the government and the Navy and
mm,
pilot and NASA, it will give them a hold on reality that this, in fact, is true on this level.
mm,
And then I have to be honest.
mm,
I I feel very sad um, because I recognize now that I really have lost 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, it, it, it is a reality to me now that you know, all of that lying, all of that is a waste and a terrible, terrible waste. And so I'm very sad about that.
Yeah, I can really understand where you're coming from, because it's a very isolated. You're two persons. The people, they see you, but there's a person inside of you, and you are trying to comfort by yourself, your little child inside of you, and then you come out. So I think you have this little child, this boy has to grow into you and to integrate in this new process of the new John. So I really understand that feeling. I think many people have been there. And that's why I think it is such an important film, documentary, something, a very good basic part to for people to start believing in themselves. And you are such a beautiful example, and you expose yourself, and I respect that very much. But now we love to see you in this movie, the 3rd of May. I'm very, maybe many other people are watching. Where can we find you, and how can we keep track of you and your new projects?
Um, well, thank you for all of your kind words. Thank you. Um, First of all, the film does come out May 3rd. It's for pre-sale now. It will be Apple TV, Google Play, Amazon Prime, any kind of video on demand on any cable station. And then we're hoping it comes out in Netflix somewhere in June or July, and also it will be available via DVD. So Amazon.com, you know, Walmart.com, Redbox, and any other place that you would buy a DVD. As far as new projects go, as I mentioned, I work for a company called Rhino Pictures. And so rhinopictures.com would have new projects as we come along. At present, I am trying to get the word out about this film, but
Mhm.
also simultaneously trying to find investors for the second film, um, which I'm very, very excited about because it continues the sentence, if you
Yeah,
will. You
yeah.
know, it's the next thing. There's only so much you can put into 124 minutes.
Mhm.
You know, people must watch it. They must understand it, they must hear it, they must digest it. It takes some time because these are big concepts.
Mhm.
And then, so anyway, I didn't want to say any
Yeah,
more. uh,
that's why I watched it twice.
uh,
And I think I need to watch it the third time, because you there's a lot of information and a lot of things happening. And every time you watch, you see also new things, but it also raises more questions, and it starts to, so if I'm not speaking about it for so many years, what will it do to me? And I will say something about that later. Um, so this film is being aired on many platforms, so people can watch it everywhere. And Netflix, everybody has Netflix. So that's also a beautiful platform to, you can keep on seeing it, if you're a member. Um, so to come back on that story of yours, I'm sure this film will stir a lot of people's attention, that I'm sure of. So in my view, it will take a lot of people out of their comfort zone to start talking about it. If they had those deep experiences, maybe like you, with what it left physically on your body, and people who are struggling with these experiences and do not want to live anymore in silence any longer, or feel that they must lie about the truth. Um, uh, what do you think? You did experienced all these things. What was the release for you after so many years?
Yes. Prior to specifically working on a film,
Mm,
um, I was doing other projects and struggling. There was this wonderful woman from Florida and a gentleman from the UK, and they noticed that I was struggling, and they were experienced, and they were also experienced with CE5 and
mhm,
remote viewing and this, and they could sense that there was something wrong with
mm,
John,
mm,
and so they made a plan,
mm,
and they very kindly and
mm,
gently confronted me and put me in a position where I had to answer them.
mm.
And when I did, it was very ugly.
Okay.
I am not a good-looking man, but I am a very, very ugly crier. So I,
You can
I,
laugh, you can
I
cry, it's all part of it. So,
I'm a very ugly crier, and so it just came out of me, and it all those years of lying, and I told the story for the very first time that I had ever told. I mean, I didn't even tell my parents the full story, of course,
sorry.
because I was screaming like a crazy person.
Mhm.
Um, the and that relief then it wiped me out. I think I was off balance for about a week.
Yeah.
Uh, but at that point, when I finally admitted it, I I was afraid.
Mm,
I was afraid that my crew was there, my friends, my coworkers, my colleagues. I did not know how they would take it,
mm,
and I think that number one, I think they were completely shocked
yeah.
because they had seen me for years as, just kind of strident and, you know, nothing ever bothers me. And this shook me uh, to the ground. And
Mm,
so they were shocked by this. But then something very interesting happened. One by one, quietly, in the weeks that followed,
mm,
they would come to me privately and say, you know, John, did this really? And then they would share things that happened to them.
mm.
And I think this is a key point.
Yeah.
Actually, it's brought up. There's a gentleman named Ray Hernandez who does a lot of
Mhm.
work with consciousness and the whole idea that everything, all these phenomena are connected somehow through this consciousness. And he said, I'll paraphrase, he said something about, for people who scoff at this, he entreats them to bring 100 people that they know in the room and ask them if they've ever had something happen to them that they just could not explain. He said,
Mhm.
you would be surprised how many people, if they are honest,
Yeah.
tell you incredible things
Yeah.
that they have never told anyone. And so I think people say, and we explore this in the film, uh, why me? You know,
Mm.
why me? And I don't know if that's one of your questions, but I,
Yeah.
yeah, we look at that. Why me?
Mhm.
And because everybody asks this question, why me?
Yeah.
You know, and I think maybe the question is not why me, but why do I remember so clearly and others don't? Maybe this is not a suggestion that certain people are chosen.
Mm.
Maybe this is a suggestion that everybody is having experiences and just some of us notice.
Mm. That's a very good one. That's a very good one. So by saying that, um, for what you have experienced, because you know during these years and parked it somewhere till the moment it started to trigger, you were just doing your shopping, blah blah blah, your work, and suddenly bang, this happens and you are out of your comfort zone. So it's doing something to you. So how did this change you as a human being, as you, John?
Uh, that again is a great question, and something that we explore in the film. These experiences, these phenomena, change people.
Mm,
Um, there are couples that break up. There are couples that join forces. There are people who are estranged from family. There are families that they never knew
mm,
get together. All kinds of things, all kinds of interesting phenomena surround them, healing, psychic powers, all kinds of things that you would never expect to be attached to seeing shiny lights in the sky, but they all are part of this.
yeah,
Um, on the most human level, on the most human level, what it has made me is much more honest.
mm,
Um, that poison of lying for so many years, it was poison. It was like a cancer,
yeah.
and it poisoned everything I touched.
Mm.
And now I am a much more honest person. Uh, so I can say that now. Are there other phenomena happening around me? Mm, yes.
Yeah.
I thought, I thought they were done with me.
No,
I,
no, no,
I
no.
think they have just begun.
It-
So yes. So
It's a
that,
book.
but I'm more honest now, for sure.
Yeah, it's like a book. You have a chapter one, chapter two, and everything, something happens in every chapter and it goes on because it already started then in that time and maybe even before, maybe you didn't even notice.
Mm,
But I know experiencing all these things that, and I even, maybe I cannot say, but I really like it because it makes you such a different human being. You're more aware of life.
mhm,
You're not sitting the whole day on your phone playing games. That's not even in my dictionary anymore. It's not even television is not even anymore. It is my big television screen is outside.
mm,
And it's like you're want to absorb more of yourself. It's like you're, some people ask me too, like, um, well, how did it change you? Well, it changed me on every level of my being.
mm,
And it makes me the honesty about it, not to lie about it, because I can't.
mm,
I would lie to myself. And that's why I feel everything what you're saying. Um, and I'm also, so much respect for coming out and even on the big screen, because that's what it is. How many people will watch this and how many people will talk about it? Like you were probably experienced what you were telling me. You have to watch this movie because this man is talking about it like that.
mm,
So people will not see it as something like abnormal or paranormal, but just actually normal, because we are part of this whole big universe. And it 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 would be like my neighbor next door, and there are also neighbors outside. So
mm,
I think I really feel what you're meaning by that. But also I like to know because you were saying it's not stopping. How do you see this world of contact nowadays, especially as an experiencer?
Mm. I mm, I don't know. I know that to say it's experiencer, the name experiencer is probably correct. I but I always see myself as kind of this lost wanderer. That's really what I think of myself as. There are so many people with the answer, and I'm totally confused and still looking for all of them. Maybe this is my mission. Maybe this is my answer, to always be searching, be a seeker.
Yeah.
Um, the what's happening to me now is there are there are gaps of missing time
Hmm.
that are happening. I am supposed to be at the office at a particular time. I take off the same time. I kind of blank out at some point. I see something in the sky 45 minutes late.
Ah,
I am finding myself outside in the middle of the night. How I got there, I have no idea. The doors are locked, alarm is on, no idea. Um, and there are now things that are showing up around me. People take a random photo of me, and
mhm.
there are things, and you know all about that. I never knew anything about that. That never was part of my reality at all. But now something has been flipped on, a switch has been flipped on, and something is
Mhm.
now presenting itself.
Mhm.
Um, and it is, it is an ongoing, in my opinion, it is an ongoing communication. This is something that is rapping on the door lightly. Before, for me, it was, hello,
Mhm.
do you hear us? Do you see us? And now it's, hello, we have business to do.
Ah,
And so now there are things that I need to understand, I need to learn, I need to put into practice, I need to do these things. And just for me, so many people, this, in this world, they're like, I have the answer and all things come through me. And oh my goodness, I that is so boring to me and so sad. It is funny because, you know, I spent my life searching for this.
mm,
And then for other people who have searched for this, now it's all this. How does that make any sense?
yeah,
How does that make any sense?
yeah,
So it confuses me. But for me personally, these
mhm,
things are, as you said, a book.
yeah,
And I think I'm getting to the really good chapters. But this is why I'm sad, though.
yeah,
Okay, because maybe I could have had the really good chapters
mm,
years ago.
yeah,
Maybe.
maybe, but
I don't know.
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think what you are doing, I think, and you can work on that, you can make the movie. I cannot make a movie because I don't know how to do that. I can just maybe do something with my YouTube and with my camera and stuff and make something nice. But it's kind of mission to, and you're the example, you went through it. So if you did not go through all these emotions, it would not be the person who you are now today, and understand more, because it's going to affect everything of who you are, and you understand much better because everything comes together and you only need to put it in pieces in like a jig puzzle, and see the overall, like you say, I have this project and then the next, and then I explain it like this, and it's so important for people. So I think, like me, with a lot of things I experienced, why didn't I know? It happens when it happens. And then you can take all your feelings, your experiences, your emotions, and bundle it for the to show it to the people and explain it. So I think that's also coming to the next question for me, for you, is there's so much what I feel diversity, like you just mentioned. I have the answer. I know how it is. For me, it's the feeling. The more I experience, the more I see, the more questions I have. And it's maybe simple, but it is so complicated. And the answers, maybe we get the real answer when we're wherever where we can. So the feeling about our humanity, this earth, how does the feeling unity resonates with that for you?
I, God, Linda, that is such an important question. Um, just like everything, there are layers to this answer. The top layer is this. You have people in this world who will argue about anything. It's Wednesday. No, it's not. It's dark outside. It's Wednesday night. Silly, ridiculous things. I don't like the way that person talks, so they must be a liar. Well, I like the way that person talked. They must tell the truth. Both of them could be confused. And there is all of this. The people are the same. Okay, regardless of the phenomena, regardless of the subject, they are the same. They are fighting, once again, fighting for their own individuality and their own voice, and they must be the top, the king of the hill.
Mm.
They are missing this point that we are all one. We are all one. We're all the same stardust.
Yeah.
When that first creator said, let there be life, or light, or that big bang, or whatever you want to say, it is that power, that energy that came out, and we are all a little bit of it, a little bit of God in each one of us. And that includes ET, other creatures, other entities. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about it that way, when we denigrate and knock other people down, we're hurting ourselves. If you had a hand and you cut off the thumb, that wouldn't help the hand. The hand would be less.
Mm-hmm.
There is room for us all. And in fact, we have to have this unity because this is happening to the human race.
Mm-hmm.
This graduation, this phase, this ascendance, this whatever I won't wrestle with a word. I have no desire to fight over the word. Something is happening, and we must all face it together because we are all we have.
Mm-hmm.
We are all we have. And so unity is so important. And truly I think that when I went through the process of recalling the pieces that I could not remember from my experience with Deb Shakti, I was being made ready to bear what must be borne. Something is happening. Even people who are not in tune with the phenomena, they realize something is happening with the politics and the atmosphere and the environment and the people and the rage. There is something happening. And there will come a time in my lifetime, in your lifetime, when this will come to a zenith and something is going to occur in the skies and the energy around us and within us, and we will not be able to argue about it anymore. We will have to say, oh my God, this is here. This is, what is that? There's no, I don't see it. Open your eyes, stand there in the shade of it. There will not be able to be a denier. And then what will you do? Will we have these individuals who say, follow me? because I think that what will happen is that these this energy, this consciousness, these ETs look at that as childish
Mm,
and they disregard it. And look, it's even in, if you think about even the Bible, Christ talks about bring the little ones to me.
mm,
The kingdom of heaven is for such as these.
yeah,
These are the ones without pretense. These are the ones that are understanding on an emotional and energetic level of what is and what is not.
mhm,
And this unity is so important. And I laugh at myself. Linda, if you could have said to me that I would be saying this 3 years ago, I would have told you you were a crazy person.
yeah,
I would have laughed you out of the room. But I am so certain of it now because now it is so clear.
yeah.
We are all we have,
Mhm,
and we will be made to face ourselves
mhm,
very soon.
yeah.
And what will we do then?
Mhm, yeah. That's a very good one. And going to this time we live in, um, was yesterday with a physician in Germany, and he's also a trauma doctor and everything. So, and I met him also through the contact groups, and he contacted me, and we were talking about unity, and he said, "What is your wish?" And I said, maybe um, we grown-ups, I see children, I see children smiling, I see children being free, and maybe we have to sacrifice ourselves for this new world, this new time, elevation, because everything, what we think, what we do, has a direct consequence somewhere in the universe,
Mm.
because we're all connected in what way. So if I said to him, yesterday I said to him, if you look into my eyes, what do you see? And some people will say, well, you have brown eyes, I see your eye. We're like, no, 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 no. Look deeper. Oh, I see your iris. I see, no, no, no. Don't think, just feel.
Yeah.
If you look at me in my eyes, you see yourself. And if we all would do that and face the other, we experience this oneness and this unity. It would solve so many things. And I think, like this movie, even if it tells your story, it tells other people's stories. We all have a story, and we all have to share something with each other. And I think, um, like this movie, what um, it's not the unity only, but what can it contribute, this movie, to this all? What do you have? What kind of feeling do you have when it's coming out the 3rd of May?
My hope is that what it does is it allows people to tell the truth themselves.
Mm,
We see these things on the news, and the Pentagon releases 1,500 pages just a week or so ago.
mm,
And what does it affect our lives?
mm,
Okay. If we suddenly become aware of this consciousness, of this entity, of this intelligence around us, and we are aware of it, it will change the way we behave, the way we think, slowly.
mhm,
Okay. But I want it to be personal. I want it to touch people when they see the film. As you said, it's their story. It's not exclusively mine. It's theirs and the other people they see on that screen.
mhm,
And when it touches them, they allow them to say, wait a second, wait a second. When I started this, that's what I felt. This is how I thought. How did I get lost? Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? And it will begin, hopefully, it will begin that
mm,
honest communication with each other,
mm,
and for us not to wait for an authority to
mm,
give us the okay to talk about it. See, I think for many, many years,
mm,
we have waited for a church
mm,
or a government agency or a
mm,
newspaper or a professor to give us permission to talk about things. We need to talk about these things honestly. And if we do, that idea,
mm,
and what did Voltaire say? The most dangerous thing on the face of the planet is an idea. That idea of unity and of acceptance of this phenomena and then an integration
mm,
will will hopefully allow us the opportunity to finally tell ourselves the truth, and that will begin everything else.
yeah, 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 that's totally right. And the truth comes from within. And that moment, you never can stop talking about it. You cannot lie about it. It's the part of you. It's your story. It's someone else's story. It's someone else's their truth, and we never should ridicule that truth. We should respect when people start talking. And I, before I let you go, I will tell everybody about this film because I really feel it's a beautiful one. It's a truthful one, and also my recommendation is that all people should see it. And also another word for the people who are in this film. Um, I find everyone not just only brave to come out like this. I have a very deep respect to all these people to come forward with their own personal stories. And I'm sure it will help so many others because there are so many people, and I believe there are so many people, even if they experience something in their life, it should not, maybe it's not the new UFO, but if they integrate this film into, they have stuck with stuff that the truth is set you free, and that they finally get no burdens inside. And it's like if one starts, it can affect another and another and another. And so we all come maybe to that part of honesty and unity. And yeah, and I really love to talk to you, John. It's very, still, I have lots of questions, but maybe you have also maybe a lot of things. But I urge people to see this movie, and maybe in the near future, maybe we can talk again, or maybe people have questions from out of the groups. So they can ask me, and maybe in another time we can have another interview. So for now, I want to say thank you so much, and also the people who are watching, to thank them. And again, go and see Alien Abduction Answers. And maybe I give the podium to you to end this conversation,
I,
and maybe what you like to say to the viewers.
well, first of all, thank you very, very much, Linda. Once again, I really appreciate your time and um, and your very insightful questions, and also your friendship. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Um, to everybody out there, please see this film for you. Don't see it for me. Uh, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to be anybody's guru. What I want is for you to feel calm and for you to gain the same kind of peace that I am trying to gain. Um, at the end of this video, what we'll do is we'll show a trailer of the film so you can kind of get a feel for it. May 3rd, it'll be available everywhere. Please, and let Linda know what you think of it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is not communication, it's communion. Hundreds of thousands of people have claimed contact. That will change you. It changed me.
Lost in between two worlds and two dreams.
This was something that I kept buried for years. Strange things would happen. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore.
He came at me, and I fought for my life.
Ships started to pop up in the sky.
And there's this bizarre disk of light. And it is moving across the sky very fast.
The experience is often very terrifying.
If I felt fear, I would crawl under my covers, hoping that it would go away, whatever it was.
I know that we were put in that craft.
I knew I was going to go to another planet.
And the being was right next to my face.
He saw two shadow beings. That's when I felt like I was going to die.
I had a real encounter with something. Even if I had to live with the fear, is to know the truth, is to know.